Hi everyone, welcome to season 2 finale for Fighting Club podcast. Today I'm so excited to have my really good friends here in Seoul, South Korea, Jessica and David. Woo! Okay, we're here in Seoul, Korea, and it has been a really fun full week in Seoul, and we are chilling in David's 아파트. 아파트. So, how I know my really good friends Jess and David. Jess and I met through a Korean American leadership program in the US, but now she lives here in Seoul.
Yes, I just moved out here end of January, so it's still relatively new.
Thank you for welcoming us to your neighborhood.
Yes, to my new city.
Yay! And then David, we met in our,
in 2009.
2009 in our early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
But David happens to be here for work, which is really exciting, and all of us were excited to visit our good friend Jess at the same time. So we've already spent the full week here in New York, but I mean, in Seoul, but we're really excited to all be together and hang out. I'll admit that we are a little bit delirious and tired. We're pulling through for our friends.
With a lot of snacks.
It's been a packed week.
It's been a packed week.
We have Pringles spicy rosé tteokbokki. We have kokkalkon hot Doritos in that chicken kalbi
And
flavor.
garlic dipping sauce 맛 감자 chip.
And gobok chip along with Jero Coke because everyone drinks that here. And Pocari Sweat.
Pocari Sweat, which is the Gatorade of Korea.
And we are ready to rock and roll.
Ready to roll. Ready to roll. Can you guys go back to when we first met each other and your first impressions and how that was? Do you remember?
Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Well, David,
Yeah.
my first impression, let me start with my first impression of David first. So back in 2009, we met through a mutual friend, Lola, who's a friend from Georgia, and you guys interned together at Korean Journal. And then she's like, oh, come meet me in K-Town. This is when I was 22, just moved to New York, and living in the Upper East Side. And she was like, come to noraebang at Maru. And in Maru comes out this beautiful voice singing in the noraebang room. And it's David Yi. And that was my first meeting of you. You were singing like a Sam Smith song, like going solo and wild and free. And it was so beautiful. So I just remember thinking, this guy has a lot of riz. That word didn't exist back then, but I was really taken by old David. I love that word.
Charisma.
He has a lot of charisma. K-Riz.
Chris.
Stop trying to make it work.
Stop trying to make fetch happen, girl.
K-Riz is different. Korean Riz. Okay, David, back to you. What was that first encounter like?
Well, Sam Smith didn't debut in 2009.
Shit!
Fact checked.
Oh,
It was probably Fly to the Sky. I thought you probably meant Fly to the Sky.
Really?
And my first impression was you is, wow, she is dropping it low, though she's not flexible at all. I was like, oh, okay, how is this gonna go? But it was a very interesting sight to see. And I was like, I need to be her friend.
Wait, was that when that song came out? Get low. Get low, get low.
Maybe.
Apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur.
And we instantly became friends because I was like, oh my gosh, she is a hoot. She is a holler. I need to be her friend. Who is she? And as you all know, Grace just has this, she has her own kind of charisma that's very unique. And I feel like people are just drawn to her like a moth to a flame. And they can't just help but want to know who you are.
Oh.
You are that person in the room that's laughing and giggling. And people are like, I want to be on that joke too.
Yeah. No, but our 20s were wild in New York. We had
Were
the best. They were clean, good fun, but we had a lot of time, like good times together.
Like what?
I just remember going dancing with you, going to karaoke a lot, eating at delicious restaurants, even though we were really...
District.
We went to meatpacking a lot to the park. Do you remember the park? It was like a lounge club that had like 4 or 5 different rooms with different types of music.
A lot of birthday parties were hosted.
Yes.
Can I be
Back in the
honest
days.
with you?
Yes.
Grace, I was making, I think, $19 an hour. Was it $15 an hour? It was probably $12, actually. And you wanted to go out every night. And I had no money.
I'm
and
so
I was like,
sorry.
how does this girl even pay her rent? And we were out every night. And I was like, how do I even survive? Because I was paying so much money for noraebang.
Noraebang was not cheap, if you think about it.
And it's
but
still
it was,
not.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's even more now.
So my paycheck went to noraebang, and we helped the K-Town ecosystem. But
Yes.
in turn,
All
I had
the
no
local
savings.
business.
No savings in my 20s because it all went to singing. But no regrets.
No
regrets.
drugs. No drugs.
And no regrets.
And no regrets. But we also had generous friends who like helped cover some of the costs, which was just nice of them.
Yeah.
They had some of the means and wanted to like treat us, but we were also okay going to places with no cover charge and just getting there early to like.
I had to pay cover charge.
Oh, good job. Sorry.
I think it's so funny because I think we were all in New York at the same time.
Yeah.
But I didn't know you guys then, so.
But we were all there at the same time.
Yeah.
You were at Circle at the clubs, and we were at the clubs getting down.
We were probably
But
the
this is
same
the difference
place.
is I was at a table.
She was doing table service because she had the hookups, and we were there on the
poor.
floor. We were poor on the floor
And we
dancing.
did not.
We were the have-nots, and she was the haves.
No, but I was the only one like not drink. Like I didn't really drink.
Yeah.
But I would just go and sit there and help be good wing woman for my own bus.
Oh. But we were all hanging out in K-Town. We just didn't all know each other.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're in different sections of all the
Very funny.
Section.
We're poor on the floor.
On the floor. But had the
we still
best
tore.
time. We toured through the city. Okay. Do you remember that time that you were a journalist back then, and you were doing fashion journalism, and then you had a side gig since you had worked at a Korean journalism and covered one of the first people to ever cover K-pop, and you took me to my first K-pop concert with Wonder Girls.
Oh, yeah.
They came, and then we met 2 p.m. behind the
I was
scenes.
doing a cover story.
We were doing cover story, and then you were like, "Just come with me, Grace," and I was his photographer. I have no
I remember that.
photography skill, and I brought my orange digital camera, and I was freaking out because I always had this crush on Taekyon,
Oh, I didn't know.
and I shook his hand, and I was like, "Oh my God, he's so beautiful!" But I remember that was one of the coolest like New York
Oh.
Did you use
experiences I
any of
got.
the photos she took?
No.
I was
And
his photographer to get a press pass to go
Yeah.
in.
But actually, you know what's
backstage.
even funnier
Yeah.
is that still to this day, your photos are not very good.
I'm not good at. Well, I was not supposed.
Remember in New York last month, I was so offended when you took photos in Union Square.
Oh yeah, he was like, "What is this?"
You have
He was
many
directing.
gifts.
That is not
Not
one of
not a
them.
photographer.
Grace does have many gifts,
Yeah, she
but
has
being
many
prepared
gifts.
is not one of them either.
But we love you just as
Guys,
you are.
putting this podcast together behind the scenes, it should have been another video just recording us because it was a beautiful chaos. So I'm really grateful to my flexible friends who know how to just go with the flow. But yeah, that was in their 20s, and then a couple years later, I got to meet this amazing friend, Jess, through this Korean American leadership program.
Yes.
And our mutual friend who just recorded an episode, the last episode, Christine, knows Jess as well through church. And she
Right.
was like, of course you and Jess are in the same leadership program because Jess is one of my most ambitious friends.
I still don't agree
we
with,
have an ambitious friend in Jess. We really believe she can produce and do anything in her life. I mean, she's
Yeah.
done a lot of great things in her journalistic career too.
Well, I'll share the first time I met you.
Yeah.
So I had heard before we started because
Yeah.
the Korean leadership conference was basically, or like the sessions were all in DC at the time. So I was traveling from New York to DC. And so in
I was
New
living
York,
in DC.
yes, and my friend told me, like, oh my gosh, it makes total sense. You guys are both in this thing together. And then my first session I go, and of course, like, it's one of those typical, like, you do meet and greet, then there's like a dinner, and then there's like drinks. This girl, like, just owns the room like she does in every networking thing. And she's like, Jess, come here. Let me introduce you to this person and this person, this person. So, like, to this day, I think it's just, like, very true of who Grace is, where, like, she's very genuine even when she's, like, working the room. And then she's really good at, like...
Making you feel included.
Yeah, making you feel included. Like, you, like, even though she's working in the room, she never forgets the people that she's with. And so I always, to this day, because I'm more of, like, I get kind of shy in big groups. I always say if I could only pick one person that I have to go to, like, a new place with, I always pick Grace of my friends for that reason. So that would be my first impression of you. And then for me, actually, I got to know David separately.
Yes,
and then
please
later
share how
on,
you
we
guys
found out-
met. I know.
So, yeah.
Look, this hamgakkimbap.
My hairstyle. I got a nice palma in Korea thanks to Jess's introduction. And I no longer look like a onigiri. My hair used to look like a onigiri triangle. She's like, you gotta make it look a little more professional. So I'm really grateful. This queen of recommendations for life, our life coach.
I'm just picky. So.
No, you have good taste. But yeah, how you guys met at a
so
friend's wedding?
our friend decided to put us next to each other at a wedding. And we were, because we were both journalists. And and so, like, we exchanged information, had a lovely conversation. And I was like, oh, he was so cool. I hope David felt the same way. And then afterwards, I saw on Instagram, like, maybe a year or two later, that he was moving to California. And so actually, I reached out to
And
be
what
like,
year was this? What year was the time when you met at the
Like
wedding?
2016.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, so it
okay.
wasn't that long ago, you know, and then...
It feels
if I
like a
think
long
about
time
it, it
ago.
feels
It's
like a long-
pre-COVID. That's a long
Yeah.
time ago.
Yeah.
So then I reached out, and then I was traveling a lot to California for
Yeah, it was like
work.
9
So then
years
every
ago.
time I was there, I would hit him up, be like, oh, you want to have a free meal with me? And then we would kind of
You
chill.
should take me back home because I didn't have
Yeah.
a car in LA.
Yes, I would
Moving
drive.
from
Oh, she took care of you like a
Yeah.
sister
Kia.
would.
Yeah, I would always get a Kia.
Korean Kia.
My Korean pride.
KP Youngwoney.
In
Korean
rental
pride.
cars, yeah.
Youngwoney.
But I would say we really got close because of the pandemic, because he was coming for work a lot, and he was living in Colorado at the time.
To New York.
Yeah, to New York, and
Where
so
you
we were
lived.
like,
Yeah.
like, you know, yeah. So we were
Stay on
like,
the couch.
yeah, we would like
Oh.
spend a lot of time
During
talking.
COVID?
Not during COVID. I think it was
It was, like,
post,
right after,
Yeah, right
yeah.
after. COVID,
Right after.
yeah.
Okay.
And then I don't know how we realized the three of us knew each other.
Oh, I think it was at your birthday, like 2 years ago. You're like, I was like, who's coming? You're like, oh, and Grace is coming. I was like, oh, you all are friends?
Was it then? I feel like it was even before then.
Maybe.
I don't know, but somehow we've
figured
realized
it
that
out.
actually they had been friends in their 20s.
Yes.
And got reconnected kind of later.
Yes, we did.
Because you guys weren't really talking before.
Yeah, once I left New York to go down to DC for work, or no, I went back to Boston for grad school. We lost contact, but we reconnected, I think, right before COVID. And then throughout COVID, we got to work on
Biden
Korean
campaign.
Americans for Biden. And we got to do some really cool stuff because David is such a badass in the creative fashion beauty world, and you brought those worlds into the political space, and so it was really exciting to harness that for Korean American political power building. But I know we got to do a lot more things remotely over Zoom, and then once the COVID restrictions were lifted off and you came more regularly to New York, I think we realized pretty quickly that we were friends, and we started just hanging out together a lot.
We knew each other were friends because remember once we went to the K-Town food court and we were just laughing?
Yes!
For
And
like
that's when
2
Trevor,
hours.
my husband, met you for the first time.
Remember, that was like in 2000.
And
that was
loved
before the
hanging out with you
pandemic.
guys. Yeah. We were dating at the time. I don't think he was my husband then.
We were just laughing for 2 hours like we always do.
Yeah, because we're crazy.
We're crazy.
But that's why it was funny, because Trevor
Yeah.
was like pretty silent,
Yeah.
and then just randomly he'd be like giggling by himself.
Like,
And it
really
wouldn't stop.
hard.
Yeah, it
he
wouldn't
wouldn't
stop.
stop. Because he finds you guys so hilarious. He loves you guys.
I don't know if it's
bring
us
it back.
guys or just David.
Maybe David in particular, he is
I
amused
just
by
happen-
and bewildered by and loves.
And I just have the privilege of being present for these
No,
moments.
but Jesse loves you too. He loves being in your presence. He would just leave if he didn't want to hang
That's
out.
true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's
We know
true.
that's true.
We know that's true. We do know that's true.
I remember that because Claire was there too
Yeah.
at the food
Yeah.
court. Because we went to go eat
Were we at food court or
Chodanggol
yeah, we were
before.
I think of Chodanggol when I think of it.
And I remember we went to the third floor for desserts or something maybe. They were just kept laughing for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like belly ache laughing like we always do.
And we don't need alcohol for that.
No.
No.
Although this past weekend,
Yes.
alcohol helped in our pursuits and endeavors for fun. Because Trevor, as you guys may know, like it's his first time in Korea, and so Jess and David were the welcoming team for me and Trevor coming to Seoul last week, and it's been a really, really fun and delicious time.
Yeah.
We even just had your favorite 닭갈비
place.
Oh, so
It was
full.
good, right?
And we're still having snacks.
I know. It was so good. What is 닭갈비? How do you describe it?
Spicy stir-fried chicken.
Okay.
We had udon inside it too.
Uh-huh.
And also we had a 볶음밥 after, fried rice.
And it was mozzarella
then
cheese.
we had persimmon,
Yes.
Pink
shaved
soup.
ice.
So good.
We'll show photos of
It was
that.
so
It was
delicious.
so freaking delicious. At the Tucson Place Cafe, right?
Yeah, Tusum.
Yeah. It's really
Which I
good.
actually heard they're trying to launch into the U.S. soon.
Oh, wow. So probably first come to LA and New York then. Because there's such big Korean populations. Yeah, so no, that was, it's kind of crazy though. Because now you're in Korea and we're hanging out in Korea, but we usually hang out.
It just feels like we're in New York.
I know, it
like
feels
at
like we're in
Jess's
New-
apartment.
It feels like we're in Jess's apartment in Union Square in New
Yeah.
York, just chilling, hanging out. Because last time we
Yeah.
did that with, we got some bang and we like brought it to Jess's place.
There's
Where you're
also
hanging
been
out.
definitely at least 1 or 2 photos that I receive
Uh-huh.
where it's like Grace on my bed talking to David, and I am not there.
She's like out of town. And I'm just like chilling with David
like-
at Jess's place. When she still lived in New York.
That's so funny.
She's like, David, you can stay at my apartment. And I'll just invite Grace.
It's good times. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think we just have like a lot of fond memories. But I guess one of the things that I think is unique about our friendships is our loyalty to each other. And we talked a lot even earlier today about Chung and how as Korean Americans we have this special connection with one another. Kinship and loyalty. And what I love about you both is that you accept me for who I am fully. It doesn't matter what I do for a living, but like just me being me is enough. And you being you is enough, and you being you is enough. And I just hold both of you guys in such high regard in the things that you do professionally, but how you live your lives personally with your family, your friends, to your faith community too. I just have so much respect for. And so I'm just like really, really grateful that I have precious 소중한 친구들 like you guys in my life. So
We love
we feel the
you.
same
Yeah.
way. And we are loyal to you. You're one of the
Yeah.
most loyal people. And honestly, like I feel like we've had many deep conversations because I think
Yeah.
friendships to us,
yeah.
it's chosen family and you choose to be with one another. And in a lot of ways, it's more powerful than actual blood family because
Yeah.
with blood family, you don't choose each other and
Right.
you have to stick with each other because you're family.
Yeah.
But with chosen family, you choose, like both party chooses to be there and to be present. And either party can walk away whenever they want.
Right.
And I think that's what's really powerful is like, no, we choose and we want and we want to continue showing up.
Yeah.
Even when we have our ugly sides, even when we have our bad days, even when we have our flaws,
Yeah.
we still choose to show up for each other because we want to and we love each
Yeah.
other that much. So in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
your chosen family is more
Yeah.
powerful than even your own family, your own blood family.
And I feel like one thing I've learned as I've gotten older is that like interests, like common interests, like strengths, those all change as you get older and you mature. But how you view friendship and like your values don't change. And so I feel like that's actually what brings us together because obviously like David, me, and you are all very different from each other.
Yeah.
But at the same time, because we view friendship and like the value of friendship
And have the same values.
and have the same values, that's why like and like
It
when we think-
sustains all these years too. Like how do
Yeah.
friendships like ours sustain all those years?
and I feel like
Yeah.
we've all also changed a lot.
Yeah,
you know,
we
since
have.
like you guys have known each other in
Yeah,
your 20s, since
matured
I
a
met
lot.
you kind of in
Yeah.
my mid 20s.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like there's different things that we find like aren't as important or like we
Right.
become more secure in that
Yeah.
I think changes that. But how you view friendship, I think, is really important.
Yeah. And I think we all have at the center and the core of who we are, we just want the best for our friends.
Yes.
And
We celebrate the wins together.
We're happier for our friends when they win than they are for themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that we're more devastated and sad when something bad happens to our friends. And I think that's a true friend. A true friend celebrates your wins. A true friend mourns with you for your loss. And they're also there when you don't know how to move forward.
Yeah.
They're there to help pave that path and say, hey, we can't see where this is going, but we're going to do it for you, with you. We're going to stand alongside with you, pave this road, we're going to get there together. And I think that's so powerful.
I think what you guys share is so true, and if you guys are comfortable, I wanted to share specific stories of where I've seen that come true for each of you, and if you can think of something that you're comfortable sharing. But I was just thinking, Jess, recently, you know, folks know this, but because I work in Democratic politics, election day was really tough on me and a lot of my friends who work in the campaign space this past year. And I just made time for me when she's really, really busy preparing to like move to Korea, leave her life in New York where she's dedicated much of her young adult life and her community. And she made time to get coffee with me and check in on me and get a meal. And I was in a physically and mentally and spiritually in a dark, dark place. But you like came to Brooklyn. I was in such a bad place. And you came and just like checked in and loved and just like were curious and was just like, just showed love by being there and checking in. And even when I happened to be in DC and you were in Maryland visiting your family, and the only time we could get was you dropping me off at the train station, I was like deathly sick and wearing like this COVID-95 mask. And that I was still like mentally, physically not well from the election results. And like that love and care I'll never forget was like, I felt so loved from a sister like you, and I'm just so appreciative, especially in this most recent time, how I got to experience that when I was at a really, really low point. So thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
We were talking about this earlier about like love languages, because I do think that's like a big thing of like something I think about in understanding like my friendships or my relationships, and these two are very much words of affirmation.
Yeah, we love words of affirmation.
I tried to get
We're cheap.
No,
It's just like, you're great.
We don't have a lot of money, but we can give strong,
for me,
beautiful words.
I do try to give it because I know those are the things that you guys like, but
Yeah,
it's hard
yeah.
for me because it's not one of my dogs.
Yeah.
But for me, it's more gifts and acts of service. So that's
Yeah.
how I try to give those are the ways that I feel more natural in giving my love. But yeah, no, of course. Like I think that's something I'm experiencing like right now is the importance of like making time. And like I'm realizing, because I think in my 20s I would hear from so many people like, Jess, like you're spreading yourself too thin, like how is a man supposed to come into your life if you have all these friends and all these like appointments. And I think there was a little truth to that where I probably could have done a better job like fostering that part of my life, but at the same time, like I want to love the people in my life now well.
Yeah.
And so that's something I'm trying to be.
And you do it so well.
A little bit more intentionally.
Yeah. Because not everyone deserves that level of love from you.
Exactly.
You give it so generously.
I don't know. So what example did you want
thank
to,
you.
like just of a friendship or?
Yeah, a story or an example of where it doesn't have to be us necessarily, but if it is, cool. But where you felt so moved by an act of love from a friend, not a family member, but from a friend.
Or maybe
And
Grace,
why?
since Grace is here.
Yeah.
Why would it be someone else?
Just in case,
It's
to take
you.
the pressure off.
Well, I think what I can really say is true, kind of more generally, because there's a couple examples that fall into this category about both David and Grace in my life. And we've talked about this, where it's like, I appreciate that these two will keep me accountable and will say to me, Jess, you were wrong in this, or this could have been done better. And they receive that from me as well.
Yeah,
where
yeah.
I can say, and I don't need to like love sandwich it. You
Yeah.
know, like when you have to like
Yeah.
compliment sandwich stuff.
Yeah,
to, like,
yeah.
ease
You
it
can just
in.
be honest.
Because
And
we're
we can
starting from a place of like
love.
of knowing that I want the best for you
Yes.
and you want the best for me.
Yes.
But then to other people,
Yeah.
like if anyone said exactly what I just said to my friend Grace,
Yeah,
I'll be
yeah.
like, excuse me?
Yeah.
She is perfect, you know?
So loyal.
But then like behind closed doors, I'll be like, actually Grace, they were kind of right. And you shouldn't have said that. And vice versa, you know, I think there's like a safety here that
Yeah.
I really feel, that allows me to feel really loved and safe.
Yeah.
You know, like as a kid, you know, I've told you guys this, but I was like the recipient of a lot of bullying, I think. And, you know, God has healed a lot of that. But I think also it made me more of a people pleaser, you know, where like I machoga or like I adjust and change for what I think people want to hear or see. And I feel like if it wasn't for like these kinds of friendships, that I wouldn't be able to, at this point in my life, be a little bit more like sure of what I need to like, of who I am, and be a little bit more like, no, I don't need to do that anymore because someone wants me to be that way, you know. But that's because I have like truly close friends who hold me accountable and also continue to be my cheerleaders even when it's uncomfortable.
We're always Jess's cheerleaders.
Yeah,
Even when she can't see it.
Even when I'm inside, I'm like cringing a little bit.
Yeah.
I totally see it. And so
Yeah.
I think that's what I would say would be like when I feel really loved, is it feels really safe. And I think that's really important.
Safety and love. Yeah.
Yeah, where like I think the main thing for people pleasers is you're scared you'll lose love if you don't do what people want.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think that's what I would share, because that's so important to me, because I know that's kind of unconsciously the driver for a lot of my decisions is like, oh, if I don't do what they want, or I'm not exactly the perfect like daughter, friend, whatever, like they will cut me out.
Right.
I think
And we
that's
would
my
never
greatest
do that
fear,
to you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, we'll have a real conversation.
Have
We'll
a
be
conversation,
like, this
talk
is
it
very
out.
problematic, and let's discuss this.
Yeah,
you know?
let's talk through it.
And so, you know, and I've had experiences like that, which is hard. So, so that would be my example.
So you would say like feeling emotionally safe in your friendships is something you highly value, so that you can make mistakes and then, you know, kind of work through it with your friends in order to become better people too.
Yeah, because I can think of
feedback.
like 2 friendships that I lost.
Yeah.
And when I look back, the reason I lost them, it was kind of them unilaterally deciding they didn't want me in their life. But they kind of thought they could just ghost me a little bit.
Oh, that's so hurtful.
And I think that was like just so painful.
Of course.
So I think that's why especially I value just people who are like, no, like you're not perfect, I'm not perfect, but like I'm in this with you.
I'm gonna walk through it together.
Yeah, and I think that's really important, and I try to be that kind of friend, you know? Yeah.
Beautifully broken people walking through life together. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. It's very courageous and brave and vulnerable of you to share that piece. David, do you have an example or story you can think of when you felt just so moved and loved by an act of friendship, or something in your friendship with Jess or me?
I mean, I think that last year was such a hard year for me, and last summer was especially hard for me. It was the darkest time of my life.
Yeah.
But I remember both of you just being on the phone with me and hearing me out, and, you know, just having people to hear you without judgment.
Yeah.
And to hear you without saying anything.
Yeah.
I think that that's just so important. It goes back to safety and feeling safe.
Yeah.
And feeling as if people are invested in your life just
Yeah.
as you are in theirs.
Yeah.
And they genuinely care about
Yeah.
your well-being.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a prayer circle over Zoom.
We
at
did!
Like 1 a.m.
1
New York
a.m.
time
my time.
with your husband. And
We
we're just
did.
in a prayer circle.
We
And
were in our living room.
Yes,
that.
and we're just
Over,
like, oh my gosh,
the
I just
things
need
you're
a
going
prayer. I have this big investor meeting the next day.
Yeah, it was a work meeting.
I'm so filled with anxiety. I just need prayer in this moment. And I felt God through my chosen family. And I felt God's presence. And I felt as if that I could do this. And and even if, let's say, that God wasn't real, which we know God is real, the presence of just the other humans who just wanted to send you words of affirmation, that love, and to just affirm that you were okay and that you are going to be fine.
Yeah.
And that you are chosen and protected. Like, that just meant so much, right? Means so much when someone just says, I got you.
Yeah.
You're not alone. I'm here for you.
Yeah. That actually also reminds me last summer when we were at that Thai restaurant in Lower East Side or Soho. And it was just a tough time, and we got to just pray together, eat delicious Thai food. We had a fun waiter who took care of us and was so generous and gave us a really good seat in the restaurant. And I remember there was a couple of worship songs that I wanted to share with you.
Yes.
And it was
that.
worship encouragement. This has happened already. It's earlier this week with Defying Gravity as the song that I felt like the Spirit was saying to share as a prayer. But all those little moments, I feel like, to me, really encouraged me, because even after that investor meeting, you shared a story of praise, something positive that came out of it, right? That it went really well. And I just feel like coming together, sharing something very, very vulnerable and tough, and then being able to pray through it together, you can also experience love not only from your friends, but from the divine, from God too. So it brings a little bit of heaven down to earth. And I feel like I got to experience that multiple times with you in the last year. Because it's both been all of us have experienced very challenging times, especially in the last year, in many different ways, personally and professionally.
Well, I've been in Korea pretty much most of this last year. So I think another thing that it showed me was that really with close friends, there is no distance, you know?
True.
If you actually have a bond and you both are willing to work at it, because any relationship requires work, right? You need to both be investing time and energy and willing to meet someone halfway. But I feel that's something that allowed me to really appreciate the friendships I had this year. I think I had more phone conversations with David this year than I do at home when we're closer by 3 hours, you know? And I think, and I think I was more intentional too about my closest friends, reaching out and being hey, let's do a phone call.
Yeah, you have been. I so appreciate that, the proactiveness. Well,
everyone just gets busy, you know?
Yeah,
so it's
in our friendships.
There's something about showing, I feel that's affirmation too, of you're important to me.
Yeah, I'm going to make time for you.
Yeah.
No matter how busy we are.
Yeah.
But I also love that our worlds can all be shared too. Our friends can be shared. Your husband can be shared.
Yes.
We can share friends and soul. It's okay, let's just expand our circle. Because selfishly, I just want to hang out with just all of you at once.
Yeah.
But also, if you love someone, you want to have them be a part of your life. And I think that we're both really good at that. And saying, hey, I'm bringing you into my world. And I want to introduce you to these people. You all are now my extended family. And now love each other too.
Yes.
But, I would say that's actually rare. I actually don't think most people think that way. I mean, that's why, we've had these conversations recently where I've been well, that's why, maybe you don't, you're expecting something that maybe that person can't give or doesn't
know
want
how
to give
or doesn't want to give.
Know how to.
Yeah.
But I think that's what's really unique about these particular friendships is that we do view friends like that. I can literally talk to David and David knows every person even if he hasn't met them.
Yeah.
And everyone in my life knows. Even just 2 days ago he came up to get some ice cream from me and my best friend from college was on the phone and I was like, oh look, you can finally meet David, and he was like, hello, I'm going down,
it's an expanded family, extended family that we have,
and you know everyone, and my family knows about you guys before they met them.
My family does too.
I mean, I literally went to a palace visit
with my mom,
with her mother
in the rain
before, and Grace was not there.
I wasn't there.
I spent the entire day with her and it was lovely. But it was because I felt there's that connection.
Chong.
Yeah.
Goes back to Chong.
And then David, last time he was in town, my mom was in town too, and we bumped into him randomly on the bus. And my mom
on the bus?
Yeah.
What
he was getting on the bus. It was Cheongdam, so not that crazy. But my mom was
same bus?
My mom was like, oh, that's the David I've heard of.
Another running theme that I found in just talking to some of my close friends this past season is that I found that having a shared faith or even being a person of faith, it creates this depth to relationships where when people are spiritually attuned with who they are in the spiritual world and also the physical world and how they're living their lives, it allows for more groundedness in the individual and who they bring to the friendship and to the people externally in their lives. And so I guess one of my questions is, do you find that to be true, that as a person of faith, like that helps with deep connections with people and deeper friendships then? And what does that look like even in our own friendships? Kind of touched on it already, but that's
I
like
think
a
that
running
if you're
theme.
able to pray with someone, I think that's one of the most intimate things you can do.
Yeah, it is
to
intimate.
pray for someone.
Yeah.
And that connection. Sure, we have Jong from our collective experiences as Korean Americans and products of immigration.
Yeah.
And the Korean diaspora. But I think what makes us even deeper friends is that we know that we all have the same faith and we all know that there's a greater power that is in existence.
Yeah.
And because we know that God is real and that nothing on this earth will satisfy us more than sitting next to Jesus' throne.
Yeah.
And because we all have the same shared values, it just deepens that relationship because we know that everything we have is an illusion on this earth. And we all know that after this, there's going to be a life where we can celebrate again, right? We can celebrate each other and be in each other's lives even after this world, our worldly life ends. And I think that's really powerful, something we can look forward to. But having that shared faith definitely deepens a relationship when you can be vulnerable and say, hey, like, I just need you to be with me. And it says in the Bible, it just takes two.
Yeah. And you can feel God's presence. He's with us.
Exactly.
I would definitely agree about like the prayer part for sure. And yes, definitely there's something special about having a shared faith.
Yeah.
But I would also say that I have deep relationships with people who don't have shared faith.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that I do have in common with them is we have mutual respect. So like one thing I've always promised to God is like, because I don't think that's my gifting is like preaching at all, but I feel it's like all I'm required to do as a Christian is to share what he's doing in my life, and that's it. So that's the thing I've promised to God is I'm like, God, like I am not going to be fearful about and try to sugarcoat anything when I talk to my non-Christian friends. If you're going to be my close friend, my core friend, and you're not Christian, then that is the standard I hold. Is that I still need to be able to be fully unfiltered to you. And my viewpoint is my faith. So it's not going to be like everything is still, well, I felt like God was telling me this, or I felt like God opened this door. But I can say that my non-Christian friends that are in that like top tier core friend group,
they respect it.
they are very respectful of that. And then similarly for me, like, because they're making choices and from a different viewpoint. As I try to be respectful of that, where I ask questions because I'm really trying to understand, not because I'm judging them on their choices. And I'll weigh in with like my thoughts, but they also know that I'm weighing in with the thoughts from my faith, you know? So that's the one thing I would say. Because like for sure, because I think one thing I don't want to do is like ever be in such a bubble where the only people I have in my life are ones who think exactly like me.
Oh, totally.
You know, like I feel like
I think that's dangerous.
There's such growth in being able to have different perspectives. And you know, sometimes that means different faiths and different backgrounds. And so I think that's because I had to really think about that. Like, am I compromising if I like hang out with people that are living completely different lives? But I think what it is like, is there mutual respect? Can you come to the table and still love each other and like hear each other out? And like, and sometimes like they actually make me think completely differently about a thought. And so I think there's a richness in that. So I think it's just different.
There's a richness
but you can still get deep, but deep in different ways.
In different ways.
Like, yes, when I'm struggling, mostly I'm going to the people who like I know will give me advice with that in mind too. You know, like I think that's definitely a factor. But I like that I have a fullness of being able to also have a different viewpoint.
That's true. And I agree with that. I think I have close core friends as well who are people of faith but don't share my same faith, but they really respect it, and sometimes they ask me to pray for them knowing that I'm Christian, or pray over a meal. And like you said, prayers are encouragement. They're words of affirmation. Who doesn't like to be affirmed? So it feels good. It's an expression of our love to the person too, through our prayers. And so my friends who hold other faith traditions as well, we've been able to go on a deep level, just knowing that there's mutual respect. But there's something about tapping into like spirituality that has allowed me to have like just like different and interesting conversation, another layer of conversation that would otherwise not exist if they weren't more spiritually attuned to the world around them too and how they operate as an individual. But anyways, to lighter things, I was just thinking about some of the fun times whenever, going back to our 2009 when I first met you at noraebang. Whenever our mutual friend Linda and I go noraebang or even hang out at her place, we always FaceTime David and then have a noraebang session for like an hour or more on FaceTime. So I appreciate like the fun times that we can have long distance wherever we are. And
I agree.
Yeah. And last week, our first date in Korea, we started off with noraebang, and then Jess and I ended up at noraebang really late at night. Jay, why are you shaking your head with judgment?
The good and bad thing about Koi noraebang is that you can do it just for 30 minutes, but it's also the problem with Koi noraebang.
You can keep adding money.
You can do it for 30 minutes.
Add another.
But do you want to keep it at 30 minutes?
So that was the problem, is it was time to go home, and I'm like, okay, let me walk you back to your hotel. And she goes, I want to go
One more song.
Like, okay.
What were you singing for that late girl?
We were singing SES and HOT.
And we ended with Bounce With Me.
You get a little sample. Cause I'm your girl, hold me baby. 너를 바라보는 내 모습 지켜봐줘. Stay with me, last forever, yeah. You can see the different levels of skills in singing there. But Jess, you have a beautiful voice too. You didn't get to like, showcase it at all. My tone deaf voice just came out. David is also skilled. He showed a little bit of his dancing, but we love how he gets down.
I can send you some excerpts for some twerking.
His twerking. His twerk. Anything else that you guys would love to share as it relates to a friendship, our friendship stories, or any reflections?
I just think in general, when you're with Grace, you're going to be laughing.
Yeah.
When you're with Grace, it's going to have some levity but depth. You're going to see some spirituality, but your belly will be hurting.
Yeah.
And it may get really just really loud. It will get loud. We're in Korea, and Jess could hear us from the lobby, from the third
I was
floor
literally,
elevator.
guys, I heard that you get kicked out of places if you're too loud, and I think this is the first time it could happen.
Well, we were in your lounge, and people were quietly like working on their laptops and reading a book or something. And you were telling me and David, please be quiet. And we're like, we're like quiet.
We're whispering.
We're whispering, but it was so loud she could hear us in the other room down the hall.
I can literally hear them getting into the elevator and coming down.
It's so
There's Grace.
You know what I think is an indicator of like best friendships is when you always have something to talk about.
That's true.
You're like, oh my gosh, remember when this?
Yeah.
Did you know this happened? I read this.
Yeah.
Okay, you know that person? Who do we hate today?
Who do we hate and love today?
Or what I also love is like we cannot be together, and I could be like, "Oh, did David tell you?" And she'll be like, "Oh yeah, about this," and then I'll be like, "Yes," and then I can continue the conversation.
Yeah, you can.
And David doesn't even have to be there.
Yeah.
And then we're all on the same page.
That's true.
Which is good. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that we happen to just be in Korea at the same time.
I know,
And
Yeah,
so
this
crazy.
is like special memories.
yeah, special.
So crazy.
I love
I feel
it.
so popular in Korea. I'm like, oh
You
my God,
are.
David's here.
Oh, and happy birthday to David. It's his birthday month. Let's celebrate
Every
David.
day is David Day.
Every day is David Day. Every day is David Day. And with that, we are going to go into our joy corner. Welcome to David and Jess's Joy Corner. David and Jess, the Joy Corner excerpt is really to showcase what are unexpected things that give you joy in your lives. Can you share, Jess, what's in Jess's Joy Corner?
I think in my joy corner, it's getting that like reservation that no one can get.
Ooh.
Or like that collectible that no one can get. Like for example,
Give
I am
examples.
not obsessed with Labubu.
Uh-huh.
But they're
got a
obsessed
Labubu
with
over
Labubu.
there.
I'm already preparing to like wait in 2 days worth of lines to
Whoa.
try to get. But it's not really because I want one. But I
Get
just
it
want
for
to
this
get
one.
it. Yeah.
Get it for this one. Dance with joy for the Labubu.
Or like a restaurant, like being able to like game the system.
Can you give
to
me
get
a
in.
recent example of a cool restaurant that you're excited that
Well,
you got
like
a reservation for?
I hate that I love it,
Uh-huh.
but Artist Bakery for their salt bread is still my
Ooh.
down. But like the line, like I've been number 97 before on their list for takeout, which is crazy. But it's so
For
good.
salt bread?
Okay, we have to go.
Okay,
so good.
explain what salt bread is.
So salt bread is
Sogumpang.
basically
It's a Korean word.
It's like a croissant / baguette.
Yes.
That's inside like more soft
Yeah.
with
Like a roll.
butter,
And
salt.
salt.
Yeah.
And like a dinner, it's like a dinner roll / croissant /
It's like a dinner roll.
Yeah.
baguette put into one. But
it's
what
so
makes
good.
Artist
It
Bakery,
is.
like Artist Bakery has all these fillings and stuff, which
Yeah.
is also special, but
Yeah.
you can get that at a lot of other places.
Yeah.
But they have a soft salt bread,
Oh.
which is like the ones you can get at all the other ones, and then they have a hard salt bread, which what I like is the texture of the outside is like a baguette, but I love baguettes, but I don't eat a lot of them because they
hurts
hurt my
your
teeth.
teeth.
But this one
your
is not
teeth
like
could fall
that.
out.
So that one I have never been able to find that texture anywhere else. So that's the one that I love.
Should we try to get a salt bread tomorrow?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it hard to get off of weight number 96?
No, so what you
Let's
have to
just go in
do
the
is
morning.
what opens at 8 a.m.
Oh,
But
so we
it
just
is
go?
currently 11:22, so
What
I
do
don't
we
know
do?
how realistic that is.
We have
But-
to wake up at 6.
But you can but you can put it on you can put yourself on the wait list on catch table before you get there.
Uh-huh.
So I've done that before. But so it opens at 8, so you can get it if you get there at 8 a.m.
Uh-huh.
But I love that place.
Should we try?
We could.
I think we should think about trying this to make Jess's Joy Corner come true.
Yes. Well, I try to hit that joy corner.
We love that for you.
I love foodie places, so I do it a lot with restaurants. But like the Labubu is the first collectible that I'm like, okay, this hits my like Beanie Baby. Like,
Is it for
Furby
you
world.
or for others or both?
I haven't decided yet. I'll probably keep one.
You need
Oh,
But then
yeah.
if
with
I
all
get
that
more-
trouble.
This work is not for
but if I
other
get
people.
more, I'll figure out where they go.
Okay. I love this.
Resell.
I hope you can get it.
Yes.
All the Labubus and sogumpang from Artist Bakery.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing these little secrets.
And
I know
so
you
it
didn't know
shall
that,
be.
right?
They're great.
Or
I had no
something
idea.
Better.
Yes.
David, what's in your Joy Corner? Please
Honestly,
share.
So is this like what brings us joy?
Yeah, what brings you joy that no
Like
one
a
else would
secret
know is
joy.
an unexpected joy.
I really like getting text messages from like
Aw.
old friends out of the blue.
Aww.
I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't talked to you in like 6 months.
Aw.
How are you? But what do you want, boo?
Real talk, okay.
So I like that, and I also just love going to like friends' houses.
Yeah,
and
like
just,
this.
Yeah.
You're hosting us.
And just
Yeah.
like sitting there and watching TV, being on our phones,
Oh.
and just being in the
Chilling.
presence of each other.
Yeah.
Not even doing anything. Maybe we can like it's midnight and we're like, oh my gosh, should we go to bed or should we watch another episode or should we go get a cookie or should we just drive to Target and like late night buy something? I don't know. I just like being in the presence of friends or loved ones, and we're not doing anything in particular.
Yeah.
We're just in the presence of each other.
Yeah.
And we don't even need to talk. We're
Yeah.
just in our little corners, and we're just like, okay, we're just
Oh, I
there.
love that.
No, so for
That's
the
joyful.
month that David is here, he's in the same building as I
yeah.
live at my apartment. So it's been so great because we've been basically doing that every day. I'm like, what are you doing?
Joy Corner.
He's like, I
all
need
the
ice
time.
cream. I want ice cream. I'm like, okay, I'll be
Yeah.
downstairs, you know?
It's like
I
a dorm.
love it.
Yeah, it's great.
So you're living your Joy Corner every day in Korea
Really
with our wonderful Jess. What a privilege to For you to experience that. Don't be awkward. Awkward.
It's a little hug.
Oh, hand hug. Hand hug.
We can do this. Wait, you have to make a heart. What is that?
Bring your heart in.
I don't know how to.
You gotta do a threesome heart.
How do we make a threesome heart?
Oh, it could be three-dimensional.
Oh,
three-dimensional.
wow, that's really good.
Whoa!
Oh,
Whoa!
that was good.
That was so good.
That was really good.
And it kind of looks like an apple three-dimensionally. Oh, that's cute.
Oh, cute. Oh, so cute. So cute. Anything else you wanted to share from your joy corner?
I also love just watching 90s cartoons.
Oh.
90s cartoons.
What are 90s cartoons?
Like, in 2000s cartoons, like Hey Arnold.
Oh,
Like
that's
Nickelodeon.
great.
I love just watching Hey Arnold and having nostalgia.
Yeah. Did you like
watching-
Arthur?
No.
Rugrats?
Yes,
Okay.
Rugrats. I
Not
love
the same.
Rugrats, my favorite
Oh.
show. And then also, I really just love watching reality shows.
Yeah.
All of them. I love every reality show. I think I need to be on a reality show.
You should.
You were on a reality show.
We,
Rich Kids at Beverly Hills.
No.
You were in one.
Grace.
He's a movie star, guys. You don't know it yet.
He's our superstar.
David is our superstar.
I'm
You
his
guys
executive
already know
assistant.
him.
Okay,
No,
I know.
you're his producer.
What is in your joy corner?
Oh, my joy corner? Well, you guys kind of already know this, but it's celebrity gossip podcasts and reality TV shows. And
What's
then
your favorite?
my favorite reality TV show?
Real Housewives?
No.
Oh, I love Real Housewives.
Love is Blind.
Oh.
It's so
The last
trashy.
season was so boring.
I didn't like the last seasons, but I really like Chicago.
Oh, did I watch that one?
Chicago was very diverse.
Oh, good.
And we were saying this earlier, but I agree with you. In my joy corner is unscheduled time with friends, where you can just call people up, and we do this regularly. It's like, hey, let's hang out. Let's just spend some time together, even if it's not totally scheduled. Because
Yeah.
the people you love don't make time for you.
I love that.
If you're
It's
free.
like, hey, are you free? Do you want to just go to like K-Town right now? It's like,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I send a lot of mohe.
Yeah. Aw.
That's my
What are you
question.
up to in Korean?
Or come
Mohe?
over.
What are
Come
you
on
doing?
over.
Come
Come on over. Come on over, baby. Come on over. Come on over, baby. Okay. End scene. Part is Useless Talent Show for David and Jess. Already done. Jess and David, what are your useless talents? Show the peoples.
I can pull out a whistle with my teeth.
Go. Show them. Can you do it right up here? Wow! That's an amazing useless talent. Good job, good job, good job. Jessica.
I know this is yours, but I'm double jointed
Oh,
on my fingers.
show,
except my toes. Except my thumbs.
Do it to the side so people can see. Wow! Well, I see it.
It's pretty strong.
What if someone said, I can whistle with my eyeball? Would that be crazy?
No, that'd be
The other thing I was
crazier.
gonna say
They're like,
is I have really big earlobes.
Oh wait. Oh yeah.
They're just really big.
why is that
But
a
that's
talent?
not a talent. I guess it's useless.
It's
It's
useless.
It's a talent.
I thought it was amazing, but look how big they
But you know,
are.
big earlobes in Korean culture, it means that you're going to be really
It's
rich.
like Buddha
Talent.
earlobes.
Talent is going to be really rich.
Okay.
It's a talent. It's a talent.
It's a talent.
It's a talent. Thank you for being our very rich friend in the future.
I know I'm not
Actually,
rich
what?
right now.
His eyes are- I think one of my friends had her her eye fart. When she
Her eye burned?
I fart.
Wait.
But then, did she do that with her hands?
What?
Okay, then it's her hand farting, not her eye farting.
Did it emit gas? It's not a fart.
fart noise. It's making fart
No.
noise.
Then her hand is making
Okay.
it, not her
Okay, so
eye.
okay. Do
I'm
you?
confused.
She made her eye fart.
Listen, we're never coming back to this podcast. Go on.
Thank you guys so much for your friendship and your love and your love. And I hope you get a lot of labubus
Yes.
and salt sogum and just unstructured hangouts with your friends, especially with Jess, for the 2 more weeks that you have left here. But love you guys so much.
Love you too.
I know we'll be friends for life. You are my family. And with that,
Yeah.
to all of our friends watching, 화이팅!
화이팅!